This film takes you inside a multi-million-dollar corruption scandal.
If the minister wants to get paid bribes, you pay him bribes.
We want money, but we have to be very, very careful. Because otherwise, it will be front page news.
The minister will let me know whatever funds he wants. I will handle it.
We reveal how an Icelandic company is plundering Africa's resources.
Hvað með greiðslur sem þú hefur verið að greiða, það ekki mútur?
By bribing its politicians.
Give the leader 70, give maybe for the party the average round, maybe 200 to round it up.
Al Jazeera's investigative unit obtains a cache of confidential documents from WikiLeaks.
This big corruption scheme goes to the highest level in Namibia.
That's buying political influence. That would be corruption.
The files reveal that two Namibian cabinet members, the Minister of Fisheries and the Minister of Justice, are accused of accepting bribes.
You didn't know that your company was receiving money?
Well, I challenge you that it received money.
I'll show you the bank statements here.
And the man who paid the bribes tells his story.
I gave him a sport bag full of cash. The minister was very happy and appreciated of it.
If you speak to a number of people about that, you end up in there.
The moment you speak about it is the moment you are close to your graveyard, in all ways.
For 5 years, Johannes Stephenson worked for Iceland's biggest fishing company, Samherji. His main role, he says, was to obtain lucrative fishing rights in Africa by any means necessary.
From 2012 to middle of 2016, I was paying bribes. I was paying illegal payments on behalf of Samherji. They have probably made 120, 150 million US dollars out of it.
But in 2016, Johannes decided to blow the whistle. He resigned and left Samherji, but not before seizing over 40 gigabytes of emails, spreadsheets, photographs, and other company data. The documents form a blueprint of how foreign companies steal resources from African nations.
They are just robbing the resource of an African country for their own benefits, and they leave nothing left in the country. I knew I had to come forward.
Johannes passed the documents to WikiLeaks, who gave them to Al Jazeera's investigative unit and Iceland's national broadcaster.
When needed, Samherji pay bribes to get their way.
Samherji is a household name in Iceland.
Samherji has developed into a fully integrated seafood company with operations into fishing, farming, processing, and sales.
The company presents itself as a family business and celebrates its produce at an annual gathering for the local community. It's been run for the last 40 years by Thorsten Mar Balvidsson. He's proud of Samherji's relationship with quality retailers.
En svo Samherji, ég hafi búin að eiga fisk í hillunum, hann var svo spensir í 15 ár.
Global brands such as Tesco's and Carrefour also sell Samherji's fish, generating hundreds of millions of dollars each year.
How do you think they view Africa in their business structure?
They view Africa just as a continent to give them cash. That's it.
Namibia, on the southwest coast of Africa, is a country with a small population and abundant natural resources. But a fifth of its citizens still live in poverty. Johannes Steffensen says that's because of companies like the one he used to work for.
I would say it's a very classic story that the Western company comes to Namibia, get access by any means to the resource, and take all the profits out.
The documents obtained by Al Jazeera include a company presentation which describes considerable corruption in Namibia. Samheri's boss, Thorsten, was told the company needed political support to succeed, particularly from a man whose name repeatedly crops up in the files, Bernard Assau, the fisheries minister. Armed with the leaked documents, we began our own investigation into how corruption in Namibia works. We sent Johnny, an undercover journalist, into the capital, Windhoek. Johnny posed as a representative of wealthy Chinese investors. His mission: gain access to lucrative fishing rights, which are allocated by the government. He sets up a meeting with a lawyer who we knew had political connections.
Good morning. How are you? Are you well? Yes.
Sisa Namanji's name appears in the leaked documents. They reveal his company received over $1 million of unexplained payments from the state-owned fisheries company. He's also the president of Namibia's personal lawyer.
We will be very interested in like resources such as food and the fishing sectors.
Johnny asks Sisa to become his local consultant.
I am there to guide you how to do it legally. If you want local partners, local business people, I can also get you to the right people to speak to. That's my specialization, and I do the river.
The right to catch fish in Namibia is heavily regulated. The government is supposed to allocate fishing quotas based on merit. And foreign investors need to operate alongside a Namibian company.
The ultimate aim is that the profits remain in the country to ensure that as much benefits comes to Namibians as possible.
The lawyer Sisa Namanji has set up a meeting for Johnny with a prominent businessman.
What would you like? Cappuccino, coffee, or tea?
I'll have a tea.
Saki Kadila runs a large Namibian fishing company called Umwalu. He listens to Johnny's proposal.
We could like invest, and then you can use your knowledge and specialty to keep running the business, but at the same time expand the culture.
You're giving me some food for thought.
Saki invites Johnny to visit his company's facilities.
I want to work with you guys.
He suggests they go into business together. The plan is to set up a joint venture with his fishing company, Umwalu.
It's already frozen.
Saki soon reveals why the proposed joint venture is a guaranteed moneymaker. He claims he can use public officials in Namibia to bypass the fishing laws.
We could find somebody in the ministry, and that we could also place in the company.
Saki can then ensure that the joint venture will always catch enough fish.
That person is only for the influence to ensure that Umwalu always gets a quota.
For now, he doesn't say who this public official would be. In 2012, Johannes was looking to break into the Namibian fishing industry. He was introduced to a local dealmaker, Tamsin Hatukulipi.
Tamsin is the fixer. He finds the right foreign companies. He talks to his people and they connect them together.
Tamsin connected Johannes to his cousin, James Hatukulipi, a local entrepreneur.
James is the mastermind of the setup of the companies, how payments are done. He does the business part of the corruption scheme.
James and Tamsin Hatukulipi would become central enablers in Sam Harry's bribery scheme through their close relations to Tamsin's father-in-law, Namibia's Minister of Fisheries, Bernard Asau.
If the power brokers were doing the deals directly themselves, they'd probably be too exposed. But when the lid is lifted, you often see that the people behind that company are middlemen notorious for corrupt deals.
Enablers like Tamsin and his cousin James, as well as our contact Saki, are known in the trade as sharks. Tamsin's first job for Sam Harry was to connect Johannes and his boss Thorsten with their high-level political contact.
This was the big moment for them all. There were the two big people meeting. The decision maker of Sam Harry, Thorsten, decision maker in Namibia, the Minister of Fishery, Asau. This meeting was about building trust, because the trust is so important in a big corruption scheme. Once you're in, and you do not get so easily out.
For delivering this meeting, the leaked documents reveal that Tamsin was paid $38,000 US. 3 weeks after the first meeting with our enabler Saki, he tells Johnny he has the political connection we need. Our undercover reporter was led to the same man that Johannes met at the party, the Minister of Fisheries.
I've heard about your great experience and your great contribution in the fishing industry. So it's our great pleasure to meet you.
I'm very happy to hear that you are interested to come over to Namibia and to look at opportunities.
Asau presides over an industry worth $750 million a year. The minister tells our reporter he should use a private number to contact him.
Thank you. Thanks.
He also asks about a phone that would make his life easier.
It's only in China where you get iPhone with double SIM card.
We can get this really easy. What's your favorite color, Minister?
My favorite color? Black.
Black, okay. Great man, think alike.
The meeting with the minister is a success, and Saki will soon suggest our first deal.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Saki has invited Johnny to a trade fair organised by the National Fishing Corporation of Namibia, known as FishCorp. It's a government-run company.
I am Mike, he was using a mic. So we are all mic'd today.
Mike Nugampunya is FishCorp's CEO.
Thank you very much. Can you give him another head, please?
Each year, the fisheries minister assigns Fishcorp thousands of tons of fishing quotas, which they then sell to private companies.
The government wants money, so they give me the quota and then I can sell it in the market to get money.
The quotas that Fishcorp sells can generate millions of dollars in fish sales. Bidding for them is meant to be highly competitive. But because Johnny is backed by Saki, Mike says he can help them bypass any competition.
As long as I am with Fishcorp for the next 5 years, you will still get quota from me.
So you helped Saki before reporting?
Yes.
A few days later, Saki arranges another meeting with Mike.
How is everything?
Everything is perfect.
Certainly looks like
a deal is struck to guarantee Fishcorp quotas for Johnny and Saki's joint venture. Johnny will hand over 20% of the company to Mike, as well as $500,000 US. Mike will then ensure the quotas are given to Johnny's joint venture with Saki.
He will make sure that you get the quota, and it's in his interest because by virtue of having 20%, his interest in the operations.
Mike is keen to use Saki to hide his involvement.
What we're trying to do is to make sure that the whole deal is with Saki. Then it becomes independent that I'm just there to support you with the quota.
That 20%, I'm going to hold it on his behalf.
To hide Mike's 20% share in our company and the $500,000 payment, Saki offers to launder the funds through one of his companies, SPK Consulting.
This is my company, of which I'm the only shareholder and I'm the only director.
100%, okay.
And that is the only reason why we're using this company. Okay, because we don't want anybody else asking questions.
Then nobody will find out that you are part of the deal.
That is exactly what we're trying to protect.
We showed a Namibian professor of law the evidence that our undercover reporter had gathered about Fishcorp's CEO.
As a CEO, he would be acting in two capacities, as a private citizen and as an official. And in both cases, he's the beneficiary of that. That's just illegal. That would land him in prison.
In 2013, Johannes says he was asked to provide a payment for Fisheries Minister Bernard Esau in return for securing fishing quotas. The request was made by Tamsin Hatukulipi.
Tamsin called me and asked if we could give the minister $60,000 US. I called one of the key managers of Samherji. He told me, Jonas, if Minister of Fishery wants to get paid bribes, you pay him bribes. I gave him a sport bag full of cash. A few days later, Tamsin said the minister was very happy and appreciated it.
A year after the payment was made, Minister Esau appointed a new chairman of Fishcorp. While Mike Ngumbhunya is the CEO, the man appointed to head the company was Tamsin's cousin, James Hatukulipi.
With James as a head of Fishcorp, he made sure that majority of the fishing quotas goes to Samherji, even though some of the other companies were willing to pay higher price.
The documents reveal that Samherji made payments of over $4.5 million US into companies owned by Tamsin Hatukulipi.
James becomes the chairman of Fishcorp. The companies that are getting the money are linked to Tamsin. This looks very much like bribery. Sam Harry has some very difficult explaining to do.
The Minister of Fisheries, Bernard Asau, has flown to Tokyo on official business. Our undercover reporter, Johnny, arranges to meet him for dinner.
I've been here many times. It's like a very famous restaurant.
An election is soon to take place in Namibia, and the minister asks Johnny to help the ruling party.
What they do is they do t-shirts.
Yeah. Ah, yes.
And flags.
Yes.
For campaigning. But you need people who can do it fast.
Johnny says he knows a factory that can do the job.
China, Shenzhen.
They donate even then.
I have some small gift for you.
He gives the minister the phone he wanted.
Yes. There's the double.
You can put the true call. Yeah. Cheers.
Johnny then explains that he needs the minister's support to secure fishing quotas.
We always put a lot of emphasis on the relationship with the local government.
It's very important.
The minister suggests that we donate to his re-election campaign.
So we need 70,000 US.
70,000 USD.
He then asks for a second donation to the ruling party, known as SWAPO.
It's maybe, if you have 100,000, give it to the party, SWAPO party, for the national one.
100,000.
Let's say something like that. US. Yeah, that's it.
The way easy to fit the cash.
Give the region 70, give maybe for the party the 100,000, which we can just talk about. That's it, for campaign.
Minister Asau and all those implicated in the leaked documents are members of Namibia's ruling party, the Southwest Africa People's Organization, or SWAPO. SWAPO was born out of Namibia's independence struggle.
To declare that Namibia is forever free.
SWAPO is the one that liberated the country, but there is no separation of power.
The party has won every election since independence in 1990 and controls all public institutions.
Corruption becomes the order of the day. The moment you speak about it is the moment you are close to your graveyard in all ways.
Johannes says the corruption he experienced went right to the top of the party. In 2014, he was asked for a political donation by James Hadokalipi on behalf of the incoming president, Hage Geingob.
James called me and asked us to pay him $140,000 because the president needed to pay his fellow SWAPO members because there was an election coming in the party 2 months later.
Leaked emails appear to confirm that a payment equivalent to $140,000 was made. It was said to be for the party. We have no evidence that President Geingob had personal knowledge of this.
I called Thorstein, the CEO of Samherji, and asked if we should do it, and he immediately gave a green light. So we paid James, which was meant for the president.
The discussion about our payment to the Namibian Minister of Fisheries continues.
It's for the political Donation?
Donation, yeah. Donation.
We send to you directly?
Send it to me. Send it to me.
Send it to you?
Yeah, send it to me.
Okay.
And then you can see it.
The account is in Namibia.
Namibia. I'll give you the detail. You can create the detail. Website.
Which bank? Standard Bank?
I will give you. Don't send it to Saki.
The minister suddenly changes his mind. Instead of going to his account, he wants the money sent to Saki Kadila, the enabler who introduced us to him.
We are very close to Saki.
How many years you have known Saki?
Saki for more than 10 years. Send it to Saki. Are you sure? Yeah. Send it. Make it 200 to round it up. Okay.
After dinner, the minister and two other Namibian politicians invite Johnny to celebrate the deal in a hostess bar.
This way. Hey, you want some ladies for the girls? 1, 2, 3. I said you have to get one girl here, one girl there, one girl there, and one girl here. I went to Geneva some years back at a club like this. The ladies came, 14,000 that time.
The following day, the fisheries minister meets Johnny again. He wants to make sure our political donation remains hidden.
People are looking at us. We have to be careful. Watching us. We must be careful. He said, no, use money laundering. Money, what would be that?
But it is just to support the campaign.
We have to take it easy. We want money, but we have to be very, very careful. Because otherwise, it will be front page news.
In 2013, Johannes claims that Sam Herry were deepening their ties to the SWAPO party leadership. They invited James and Tamsin Hatakalipi on a trip to Iceland to meet with Sam Herry's CEO, Thorsten Mar-Balvidson. Accompanying them was a rising star in the party, Saki Shangala. At the time, a close advisor to the president, he went on to become the Minister of Justice.
How do you view the level of corruption going on in Namibia now, and what can be done by your office to try and stop some of it?
Thank you for asking that. I have been at the forefront of reforming the fishing industry. So we have all the legislation in place. And what we've picked up is that, yes, there are levels of corruption, very minuscule. It's not really an issue we're worried about.
In 2014, Shangala was the architect of an even bolder attempt by Sam Herry to increase its access to fish in Africa. That year, Angola and Namibia signed an international agreement, a deal allowing an Angolan company rights to Namibian fishing quotas.
It was supposed to be beneficial for both Namibians and Angolans. But the true motivation was that the sharks have found a way to access quotas.
We have no evidence that Angolan ministers were involved in any wrongdoing. The quota was officially awarded to a company called Nangomar Pesca. Johannes says it was a front company controlled by the Namibian sharks.
The bilateral agreement between Angola and Namibia was just to get fishing quota in Namibia for the sharks.
A few months after Nangomar Pesca was awarded the fishing quota, a confidential meeting took place at Sam Herry's headquarters in Iceland. James and Tamsin Hatukalipi were there. But the man who led the Namibian delegation was Saki Shangala. Saki gave a presentation to Thorsten, the boss of Sam Herry. He outlined how Sam Herry could buy the quotas from Nangomar Pesca. But they had to move fast. The opportunity we have is not available to everyone, he wrote. We need to move before everyone wakes up. According to Johannes, it was Saki's political connections that made the deal happen.
The role of Saki is more political. To get a bilateral agreement like that in place, you need very big political support.
I spoke to Johannes Stephenson. He said when he was operating in Namibia, corruption was rife and that he had to pay what he calls bribes to politically well-connected individuals to obtain access to fishing quota. Does that sound familiar to you?
It was actually corrupt before we came in. You had a lot of people who understood that once I have a fishing right, I can get rich quick.
Soon after the trade deal was signed, Sam Herry bought Nangomar's quota. They paid Nangomar $2.2 million over 4 years, well below the market rate. But they transferred a further $4 million to a Dubai company, Tundavala, owned by Fishcorp's chairman, James Hatukalipi.
The money Sam Herry paid to the bank account of James in Dubai was for James to distribute further, like to the Minister of Fishery, to the other sharks, and also possibly to the bigger politicians in the country.
The invoices for almost all of the payments that Sam Herry made to James and Tamsin Hatukalipi described the services they provided as consultancy.
This use of the word consultancy is typical in bribery deals. Given that there's very strong evidence bribery occurred, and that the bribes were channeled through a myriad of mysterious entities and offshore companies and trusts, I think there are ample grounds to investigate Sam Herry and its associates for money laundering.
The documents also appear to suggest that Shangala has been receiving money for securing the Angolan deal for Sam Herry. You know, one of the well-connected political individuals that Johannes Stephenson said he paid was you.
I haven't received payment from him. Maybe he has evidence to that. He should prove it, and he should be investigated.
Of the $2.2 million that Sam Herry paid to Nangomar Pesca, Nangomar Pesca transferred $750,000 to a company called Otwafika Logistics. Shortly afterwards, large payments were transferred to 2 companies that Shangala and James own. One, Alea Investments, received $330,000. The other received $170,000.
You and your business partner, James Hatukalipi, own 2 companies that have received hundreds of thousands of dollars from companies that are getting paid by Sam Herry.
No, that is not true. I have no recollection of money coming from any relationship with Sam Herry.
Yet the documents we obtained showed a money trail from Sam Herry to the company Shangala owned with James Hatukalipi.
What about Alea Investments?
Alea is a company I own.
That received $300,000 from companies that have received large payments from the Nangomar deal. It is paid by Sam Harry.
Since I'm not a director running the company, I wouldn't know. But the auditors are there. Why are you...
You didn't know that your company was receiving money from Sam Harry subsidiaries?
Well, I challenge you that it received monies.
I'll show you the bank statements.
Have you seen
the bank statements here?
I showed the minister evidence of one of those payments. $17,000 paid from Otwafika into Alea.
What did Alea do for Otwafika, which is why they're getting...
Well, look, give evidence. Put me before a court of law, put me before an investigating officer, and the auditors are there, and then they answer, and then we finish.
So your answer to the payments from Otwafika into Alea, they have nothing to do with Sam Harry?
My answer to you is Mr. Johannes Stefansson.
No, but I'm asking a very simple question. The payments from Otwafika to Alea...
You may not like the answer.
What were the payments from Otwafika to Alea?
My answer
What were they for?
Listen, when I went to the Law Reform and Development Commission, I handed over all powers to run all my entities, and I handed it over to people.
And you don't see any benefit of that?
Well, what I'm saying is, Olia is a company run not by me, but by Mr. Atukulipi.
Okay. For your benefit at all?
Well, look, what I'm saying is...
Do you take any benefit from that company? Do you take shares from that company? Do you take dividends from that company?
We haven't declared dividends in a while, if I recall.
When they have received the payments which I paid to Namkumar, they give their best regards and said thank you for the payments, including Saki, James, and Thompson.
Well, you see, you totally believe Mr. Johannesson, and therefore it is difficult for me to convince you otherwise.
James Hatukulipi and Saki Shangala broke the law, according to an expert who viewed our evidence.
They are both officials of the government. It appears that they obviously had central roles to play in establishing this deal. Now they're getting paid in their private capacities. That's illegal. There's no doubt about that.
Our undercover team had met the fisheries minister in Tokyo. Now they were back in Namibia. Our enabler, Saki Kadila, is on the phone to Johnny. Saki had just met the minister, Bernard Asau.
Hey, Saki, how are you?
Good, thank you. I was with the minister yesterday morning. We discussed the T-shirts and we also discussed the amount that should be transferred.
Okay, we will do that. 175,000.
Yes, okay. But can you increase it to 200,000?
Okay. So for the donation, the minister would be definitely helping us and doing us great assistance and a favor for the fishing business after we show our goodwill, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. I've always had a very good relationship with him, and now since your visit in Japan, he also thinks very highly of you. He assures me that he will do whatever it is we would require from him to assist us.
With the $200,000 figure agreed, our undercover reporter meets Saki to finalize details.
Saki, I want to ask you about the payment for the minister.
Yes, I will handle it.
Saki explains how they intend to keep the transfer hidden. They ask for the money to be placed in a trust account managed by the president's personal lawyer, Cesar Namanji.
You will take it from Cesar, and then you will give it to the minister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The minister will let me know whatever funds he wants to expend to give to the party and how that should flow. I will handle it.
To hide the true beneficiary of the money, Saki instructs us to use a fake payment reference number. The money will now appear to be an investment in a local housing development run by a company called Umbondo Investments.
We need to keep it hidden, right? Like, is this a safe way?
That is why when the payment is made, it must be made with the reference that CISA gave. We can't mention anything about a donation to the party or donation to the minister or anything like that. Because the Financial Intelligence Center and the central bank,
they will check.
Yeah. So now that's why when it's going through CISA's account with that reference number, he also has to report, and they monitor the account. So if they ask him, then he says that no, this is for this development, and they will be satisfied with it.
Umbondo Investments, the company being used to hide our $200,000 payment to the minister, owns this development called Ocean View. Our undercover reporter visited the sales agent.
Has it got a view of the ocean?
Okay, it does have a view at some certain area. When they build it, they had the ocean view, but they're very far from the ocean.
The plan is for the payment to be lost amongst the investment in construction, so it won't be flagged as a suspected bribe.
They're selling out all the plots as they go, and if you want them to build a house for you, then they build a house for you.
What do you know about Umbondo Investments?
It's a trust. Yeah, I know the trustees.
What's their names?
Saki Kadila.
The sales agent does indeed know Saki Kadila, a trustee of Umbondo Investments. She's Saki's wife.
That's obviously hiding the origin of the money and hiding the ultimate destination of the money. That's money laundering. That's quite a serious offense.
It's criminal?
Oh, you go to prison for that.
You guys have done this before, yeah? You'll get through, no?
That's why we're dealing with it this way.
Okay, and Minister is okay with the arrangement?
That's why the Minister told me to stay to me.
As long as the 200,000 can reach the Minister. No.
Once it's in CISA account, then you are assured that it's reached the Minister.
Johnny then visits the lawyer Sisa Namanji to confirm the money will make it to Minister Asau.
The money that we want to give to the minister, we put it in the trust.
You guys must be careful to be speaking to people paying the minister.
Sisa warns us to be discreet.
If you speak to a number of people about that, you will end up in there. I'm not involved in who to be paid and what money for. I also do not want to be involved in that discussion.
I understand.
It's fine. Once money comes in, I have given Saki the file with the money, and Saki, obviously, having discussed with you guys, he will know how to channel. He has a very good relationship with the minister.
Sisa's account may have been used to launder funds before. The documents indicate that a total of $1.2 million were deposited in Sisa's trust by the state-run company Fishcore, after James Hatukalipi became its chairman. With a plan to launder the bribe in place, Johnny meets Minister Asau for a final dinner.
We want to send you the payment that we will do with Sisa and Saki. Yeah, is that okay with you?
It's all right.
Is it correct, the 200,000?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's safe?
Yeah, we have to be careful. Because otherwise, if they find out and like, what is the money?
It's money laundering. What is this all about? That's why Caesar's got his law firm. There would be ways of explaining why you are doing that. You are doing investments here. China and Africa.
China and Africa. That's beautiful.
Take room to grow.
Minister Assal didn't reply to a request for an interview.
Let's find out now about the initiatives and challenges being faced in Namibia.
He was busy attending a conference on the importance of transparency in fishing.
We needed fisheries resources to build our small and young economy. Hence, we made sure that access to our fisheries is right-based.
Our team was also there.
Are you the ones who send me messages here?
This is a video of you.
Where was this?
This is in Windhoek. And here you're talking about accepting bribery for up to $200,000.
From where?
From Chinese investors.
No.
No?
No. I have to get this. I need to get more information on this.
You know a company called Samherji in Iceland? You've been in close connection with Samherji?
No.
You haven't been?
I know they are fishing in Namibia.
You met with the CEO of Samherji?
They came to Namibia to come and to exploit the resource with private sector. I'm a regulator.
Do you know about all the payments that Samherji has been paying to your son-in-law?
I don't know.
You know nothing about that?
Nothing about it.
What about the payments they have made to a company in Dubai, which is owned by James Hatul Kalipi?
I don't know anything.
You don't know anything about that?
I don't know anything, yes.
You're here today to speak about transparency, but still we have a video of you talking about money laundering and accepting bribes.
I am not a corrupt person. I am not involved in money laundering.
We also wanted Samherji's boss, Thorsten Mar Bauvidsen, to comment on our evidence.
Hvað með greiðslur sem þú hefur verið að greiða til tengdasonar sjávarútvegsráðherra Namibíu? Eru það ekki mútur?
Fallegt veður finnst mér hérna úti.
Ætlarðu ekkert að svara?
Fallegt veður hérna bara.
Þú hefur talað að þú hafir ekkert að fela. Ertu ekki
Þetta er mjög hérna, þakka ykkur fyrir bara. Ég ætla að hafa mig kaffisopa hérna. Vitið að nógu komið alveg nóg hérna fyrir ykkur með þessa mynd.
Johannes is in Berlin to deliver signed testimony about the corruption at Samherji. Since blowing the whistle, he travels with bodyguards.
Of course I'm afraid. I'm very high on their hit list today.
He's taking his evidence to the Namibian embassy, hoping that it will be passed to the country's anti-corruption investigators.
I believe it's my best decision in my life is to come forward and do my part.
Johannes, you've committed crimes yourself. There are going to be people who say you should go to jail as well.
I'm for sure part of the crimes, and I'm for sure in a risk to go to jail. If that is the cost I have to pay to expose this, I've long time ago come to terms with that.
from me. We can meet in the courts of law.
Do you know that your son-in-law accepted money from this Icelandic company, Samrit? He said that he was going to bring that money to you. Were you aware of that?
Go and investigate some other things.